Testing. Testing.
Yeah, your microphone works. Mine's working.
Mine's working as well.
So, about a fifth or so away from the mic-ish.
Okay.
All right, so this is it. We can get comfortable. This is the first practice of the Back Porch podcast here.
Perfect chairs. I like
Yeah.
these. They're very comfortable.
They rock.
I noticed.
If you go back,
If I fall asleep, I apologize.
I'm really interested.
What kinds of backdrop?
I'm interested to see how much of the surrounding that it picks up of cars going by and
That's
stuff.
a really good test, too, because you're going to be able to have a lot more control depending on what your setting is, given your hiking enjoyments. That could be a great way to show if you just set up a podcast in the woods for the hell of it.
Which I do want to do. Yeah.
I think there's more things that you have considered than you haven't, Kenny. I'm sure it's a shorter list of what's possible than what you thought is possible.
That's probably true. That's probably true. I didn't put my hat back on.
Go for it.
It's all right. I'm glad to finally be here and doing a test that I feel is actually like a test to see if it's working.
Not a constant set of failures, as you so bluntly put earlier, not 3 seconds ago, setting the settings back to their initial working point.
Yeah, because we tested earlier, it was working, and then when we finally hit record to like super test the test, then it didn't work.
Well, I'm used to lawn care, Kenny. Even if the mower kind of half works, it can still cut a little bit. And any percentage of the yard that's cut is a percentage I don't have to do again.
That's true.
So it's a lot like coloring it in.
But the sooner you do it, the sooner you got to do it again.
Gotta take the fun out of everything, man. Even small
Yeah, but you get paid to do it again.
Even small wins are victories. Yeah. Well, I'm probably not the only business owner that would just like customers to give me money for no reason.
It would be a lot easier.
I'm not that likable. I'm not I don't have that kind of charisma, thus I mow, but
I think you're very likable. You're not a social butterfly per se. If you don't know people, but you are once you know them.
yeah, and that's true. I don't have any issue with strangers, but they pursue me versus I pursuing them because I probably have too much cynicism for 29 openly, but I find that if you have a lot of friends and family that you like and talk to, more isn't really necessary. But if you've isolated yourself from people, it's best to get to know people better sooner.
Pull that microphone out a little bit closer to you. Yeah. Okay.
But that's very true. Whereas, I don't think you can't not talk to people.
Yeah, it's
Like I need to breathe, so I take air. If you don't talk to people, you might die. I think that's not accurate to the physical, but probably how you feel sometimes.
I like to interact with people and talk with them, which is why I want to do this podcast.
Right.
Obviously.
This is the most possible people possible, the world, or at least anyone with the internet. And I don't want to talk to people who don't have the internet. So
I'm looking at us here on the phone, trying to monitor that, and it actually looks okay.
I guess you'll really know how well after it streams, because you have to have your location, you have to have the backdrop, you have to have the sound, you have to have all that organized, and then all of that can change after the streaming of it. I'm glad you're doing this.
Yeah. So what's really this one will be easy because it's from the GoPro. So I'll just take out the SD card. You can transfer them wirelessly, but I think it takes forever. So I usually just do it SD card. Mm-hmm. And so I'll take that SD card, plug it into my adapter that currently the microphones are plugged into, and then it'll come up with everything on that SD card. I'll select what I want, import it in, and it goes straight into my photos. and then I open LumaFusion, and then I'll be able to take the video from photos and input it into LumaFusion.
I'm confident that's much easily done if I witnessed it than what you described.
Yeah, it's not hard.
About
You'll
8
see it.
steps just there now, but I'm sure it's pull out, put in, copy, paste, done.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Pretty
Computers.
So it's not bad. I was concerned that these chairs almost give you like bad posture in a way.
Well, I mean, but if you already have bad posture,
Which I do.
same, you're fine. If anything, it makes you twice as honest.
Yeah. But I don't know. I love my back porch. I've always had really awesome conversations on back porches that I've had. I've had multiple porches.
I can see that. I mean, the atmosphere a back porch lets on usually means leisure, good food's coming, always good company.
Well, you're in a private part of somebody's home.
It's-
You know,
as private as you can.
you don't
be.
meet strangers on your porch.
At least I hope not.
You know what I mean?
Like that's usually someone who dies because someone's breaking
Right.
into their home.
Right.
But yeah, no, I completely get it. It's going to be family, friends, people that you are intentionally looking forward to seeing.
Well, I just wanted to do one here, and then yeah. But the people that are on your back porch, I can cross my leg like this. Let's see. I think we might need. See, that doesn't look terrible. There's a lot of space above our heads that a little bit of a zoom lens could take out. If you can see that. See, the camera angle could be a tad bit better.
And I need to focus on sucking in my gut.
Well, that's the leaning back thing.
Now I
Yeah.
look like. No, I look anorexic.
There you go. Well, I wouldn't say anorexic, Charlie, but
I don't feel fat, but when you suck in your gut and then you release your gut and there's lag in the process of that happening, it's depressing. Well, and there is definitely quite a bit of room above us, but this really captures the fact that you are in your back porch.
Mhm.
I see your backyard. It's pretty obvious this is screening, even if you can't directly see it through it. You could probably focus it in a little bit, but it wouldn't need to be drastic. You actually have a really good setup. I mean, you got plants, sets up a nice ambiance. I mean,
the dog was in there.
who doesn't like dogs?
No friends of mine.
I don't own pets, but I have enough friends that do that I don't need them either. So I found a nice little cheat code.
I'll just come over and hang out with your dog.
That's a terrible thing to say about my sister, Kenny.
Listen, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
But again, this is a rough draft. You will find a system that works, and depending on topic, I assume you're going to have multiple podcasts.
Well, I don't know if I want to do different ones that have like themes to them,
Well, and you said you didn't want them planned.
or if I just want to do a generic one. Like me and you could sit here, Charlie, and we can have a conversation about
anything.
We can have a conversation about business. We can have a conversation about employees. We can have a conversation about small communities. We can have a lot of conversations.
Yes.
And I would hate for the name of a podcast to limit what can be allowed in the discussion.
But, okay, Kenny, I want you listen to dozens of podcasts at this point. None of them are limited by the subject title.
No.
In fact, the vast majority of them go off topic all the time because it's usually colleagues, many times very good friends and family, talking about something. And it always dives into something, some memory of the topic that may have very little to do with it, all kinds of stuff. So,
Well, and I think those podcasts are because that's what I wanted. I've had, I had one for Freedom Waste, and I wanted to travel around and look at people and how they handle their waste and talk to local people in the waste industry, talk to local businesses about why it's more sustainable to do business locally versus the big box store competitors.
Mhm.
But that one was very limiting because, well, what if nobody in that area is available that week, but somebody I know through the hiking world is? The president of the Ozark Trail Association or a hiking club, leader or whatever. So and then I was like, okay, well, I'll do one for like waste, and then I was gonna do one for small business, like in small communities and that kind of stuff, and then like another one for hiking. I was like, why? Why not just have the conversations that I want to have, and not have like a business or a model that is designed to generate revenue? Let's just have the conversations that I want to have, share the information that I have to share, that other people have to share, and
Right.
it might get attention and it might not.
Yeah, and either way, that's fine. But you don't have to
Pull that microphone a little closer to you. There you go.
You don't have to do that, though. You're limiting your limitations. Do the podcast you want to do, and then if organization's required, then organize them. The content's always going to be there. It's a nice thing about a podcast.
Right.
If you're just, I mean, one of my favorite things that YouTubers do. I'll try not to name drop anyone. I don't know the limitations of this, but YouTube channels we both like. I got a YouTuber that he's my favorite movie reviewer. Pretty successful channel, but I mean, he'll just randomly talk about things that have nothing to do with the showcase of it. He goes to his specific YouTube channel because that's where he has the most voice,
Right.
depending on his subscribers and his regular viewers. But it still doesn't change the fact that it can be a topic on the news. It can be something. I mean, he reviews movies and video games. Talks about some kind of tweet that some stupid celebrity said. And I don't want to say stupid, but you know what I mean. Something that gets him in a
That's
in a mood.
stupid to him, maybe,
Yeah,
or something.
exactly. But and he usually explains himself quite well. But I mean, you never limit your content based off the titleage, but don't feel that you can't ever organize it either.
Yeah, you're right. And because there's a lot of people like that. And I think the major difference of what they're trying to do versus what I'm wanting to do is they're trying to build their own stage.
Correct.
I'm not. I want to build a stage for everybody else. So, like, I want to use this podcast as an excuse to call you and other people that I know and I'm friends with, but we don't get to hang out on a Tuesday. But if we have to do a podcast and publish it and there's people that are going to watch it, that's a really good reason to hang out.
Yeah.
I can also call on other people that I'm interested in, but maybe I don't have a way to talk to or whatever, and I'd be able to reach out to them, whether it be hiking related or waste related or anything else that I'm interested in.
Right.
I can simply just call them and say, hey, listen, I have a podcast that has no topic, no point to it other than I want to hear about you. I want you to educate me. I want to get this stage put out because I think there's so much cool stuff that goes on and there's so many cool people in this area, but there's not like a platform or a way to make everybody aware of what is available. Now, you have social media, but social media is a way to connect you to the people around the world, not the people next door.
Right.
I want to connect the people next door to each other, more so than Missouri to China or, some other state or something like that.
Right. Something that it's as normal and natural to go outside and wave at your neighbor as it is to go inside and for them to listen or comment on your thoughts on a podcast about an area event that affects both of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, I would like for somebody to meet somebody that's local here and then like see them at the grocery store and be like, oh, I seen you, I heard about you,
Yeah.
So that I really want to do a local based is the main thing, and just try to connect people to each other and let them know about the resources they have in the area, and also just interview like cool people.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most important things, and Elon Musk talked about this, is inspiring. They said, it was in response to what is his greatest contribution to like humanity, because he's done so much. And he said, I hope that it's inspiring. I hope it's not what I do. I hope it's what I inspire others to do.
Right.
And so if I can take other people's story, have a conversation with them, get to share their story. Now they can use that as advertising and everything else that they want to, but I can help share their story and also connect people and hopefully benefit their business, and the podcasting stuff just works. The more attention you get, and the more viewers you have, the ads start coming and things like that. So
Right. You want it to be successful, and Elon Musk is no doubt completely successful as a human being. But I see his point. He doesn't need the credit. He doesn't need to be the person to solve the problem. But if what he has done as a foundational, inspiring note is what leads to the person inventing the solution, that's still awesome.
well, and if you look at like the idea to go to Mars, even if that doesn't happen, and if Elon Musk can't pull off the um, to colonize Mars, the fact that at 30 years old, this is the only hope we have for space technology right now. Now, in the 60s and stuff, we're going to the moon, we're going out to space. And for us, we're like, we're done with that. Like, we got to hear about space stuff when we grew up, and we're only 30, right? Or you're late 20s.
Yep.
So, we didn't actually get to be excited about the upcoming space travel. Right. We only got to read about it. And right now, we're excited about space again. And I see stuff happening all over social media about space. And I can only imagine that the fact of turning attention and setting a goal to everyone to make it to Mars, and we're going to colonize that, and we're going to be a 2-planet species, has motivated some creativity.
Absolutely. Well, and one of the other things that he did that part of the reason why the space inspiration died is because we left it to the government to do. You had a country united in the goal of landing on the moon, no question. It was the country's taxes, it was the country's people's interest that did it. But the point of the lunar landing was to be there first before Russia, because Russia launched Sputnik, and the United States realized, holy crap, we are behind. And then that sparked it, and then it all happened. But the minute that we landed, that was our victory, and the moon was the finish line at the time, and there was no reason to set a new goal. Erasing anyone. I'm sure Elon Musk wants to be the first person to Mars. Whoever is competing against him or whoever is trying to get to Mars.
Yeah, well, now Boeing and that kind of stuff is. But...
Yeah, exactly. But getting to Mars first is just the first step. There's a million more that come after that. And the big thing that Elon Musk inspired was privatized space travel. That's huge. That means everyone in a garage somewhere, whoever sat on their trampoline and looked at the stars, whether they are now a NASA astronaut, a space rocket scientist, or in some conglomerate that's trying to put together new technologies for propulsion or ease of satellite. I mean, like, the idea of me owning my own personal satellite is possible now. My own personal...
No, you can buy a rocket straight from SpaceX. You can buy them on their website.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. Who did he... I mean, as easy as I get on Amazon, I can now put a rocket into space. For me. For no other reason than me. That's fantastic.
It literally sounded like a phone was just ringing. No, like the dial tone when you're calling someone. Either that car has one loud speaker that I could hear them calling somebody, or like that was some kind of weird phantom
noise. I heard
noise.
it too. I think I turned my phone off.
No. It was like a phone here calling out.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if my phone did it or not. I don't think so. I don't think it's on my phone off.
But Charlie, what I was saying about just like inspiring people, I hope that I'm going to use, obviously, you're a guest, and if this never gets aired or any portion of this at some point, right, I hope that we can do one that is aired.
Well, this is going to be discovered by your 16-year-old son, and it's like, oh my God, Dad, you weren't bald in this picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
but no, but like what I'm saying, talking about inspiring people. You started your business when you were in high school, and there is 100 other kids, and that's an easy number. There's 100 other kids right now in that high school that could do exactly what you're doing.
They could.
That could start where you started and get to where they're getting, and that works really, really well for you through high school, through college, and everything else.
That worked really, really well for me and I sucked at it. Okay,
Right.
I mean, I had a father, most patient man in the world, but I won't get into my life story. But I sucked at it, and it was still very, very good for me. So, all of you 100 kids who don't suck at things, consider that.
Yeah.
Mowing grass can make money if you got any initiative or any ambition. But any business started young. I mean,
Even just your story of how you got to where you are in your business and your community involvement and some of your outtakes on life and how some of just your general story. I'm just going to leave it at that. Your general story, I believe, is worth telling, and I believe that it's possible that it can inspire somebody else to do something.
and you're providing, as you said, the stage for that story to be presented to
Right.
the audience that you're aiming for.
Right. And then you, as Charlie Moen Service, can take the video and you'll be able to cut it up and chop it up if you want to, or push it out as a whole to let the community or your customers better know who you are.
Right.
So it's bringing your recognition up at the same time that it's bringing attention to mine. But all I'm trying to use or do is build a platform for other people to tell their stories on and to offer what they have to offer. I simply just want to be educated through the process and get to celebrate it with them.
You're trying to do the podcast equivalent of a night show almost, because everyone knows who Jon Stewart is and the respective hosts of different shows, but they bring on actors for their movies, they bring on authors for their books, they bring on singers for their songs, all usually tied to the release of said event, but they're making people aware of those things. You're just condensing it to a local town perspective.
Yeah.
And you could easily turn this into something that spreads, I don't know, what is the famous radio personality who is tied to the shock jockey routine?
I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't know either.